Welcome to Gran Turismo, a game with an absolute plethora of cars, but the majority of those cars are contained within a few specific decades. Sure, some of those decades have incredible cars, like the 1980s Honda City, while others, less useful. Today, we're going to try and complete Gran Turismo using just a single car from each of these decades. And when I say beat, I'm not just talking about the Gran Turismo World Series. We're going to try and tackle the extreme races, which are unlocked afterwards. So with that, let's get started. And the first thing to do, of course, is visit the used car dealership. Now we are searching for a very specific car. Looking through the list, it's not here. So to pass the time until new cars arrive, we may as well go tackle our B license and get that out of the way. And look at that, we've done it! Our B license is complete. On top of that, we have also been rewarded with this, the Volkswagen Lupo. What a fantastic prize car that we're going to immediately sell. Because, hey, who can argue with an extra $3,000 in your budget? And now, let's go back to that used car dealership to buy our car. Still not here. A license then? Alright, with that, we've got our A license. Now it's time to go back to that used car dealership. Still not here. Okay, we need to pass time. To accomplish this, we need to select a specific license test. Wait for that license test to load. Once it is loaded, we then back out of that license test. Go through the loading process all over again until we're back at the menu. And that concludes one day. Now the cars will refresh on a weekly basis. Bear with me, this could take a while. A little bit more than a year later, the car we're searching for has finally shown up, the Honda Z-Act. Look at it! We're definitely taking this car, so with that, our 1970s choice is locked in. We got a little bit of money left over, so let's do some upgrades. Racing chip. 1 extra horsepower. Game changing. Nitrous. Probably the best bang for our buck right now. And the rest of the money we're going to spend on making this car even lighter. And with that, we're ready to race. I'm just kidding. We're going to go and change the oil. I'd get crucified if I forgot that again. Also, we're going to need every ounce of horsepower that we can get our hands on. Right. And now it's time for our first race in the Beginners Sunday Cup. Now I wouldn't blame you for harshly judging this car based on its lack of horsepower and non-threatening design. But the reality is, it's so much worse than anything you could possibly be imagining, as it crosses the finish line dead last, almost 12 seconds behind. It's okay, we can fix this. Let's quickly get rid of all of these assists and crank the nitrous up to full power. Now, let's try that again. Round 2. Okay, we are definitely able to maintain speed better than we were earlier. In fact, we're even gaining on the other cars. Past 1, past a second, and coming up to the final corner, we even managed to reach a podium spot. And we hold that podium spot as we make our way over the finish line, failing a lot less than our previous attempt. Way to go, little Honda. You've made me proud. I'm gonna call this a success. We even made $400. Regrettably, that's not enough for any performance parts. So sadly, there's only one way forward from here. After about 15 failures, with the best result being a second place, we've finally saved up enough to improve our little Honda. And with the purchase of a Stage 1 Turbo, the horsepower jumps up to a mind-blowing 49. Step aside NSX, Honda has a new supercar. Okay, wow, this turbo has made a world of difference. We are easily making our way through the grid with what is arguably just the worst driving. By the end of the first lap, we are already confident enough to claim this as our first victory. Enjoying the $600 prize that comes with it. But you know what? Let's see if this thing stands a chance in the Lightweight Cup. Alright, this is looking promising. Our plucky little Honda appears to be the fastest car on this grid. Who would have thought? The race feels much easier than the Sunday Cup, and it doesn't take long until we've fought our way forward, all the way into first place. Which leaves me with one question. Why didn't I do this race earlier? We claim victory and grab our prize of $2,000. Seriously, why didn't I do this race earlier? We quickly finish off the rest of the Lightweight Championship, and then we were rewarded with this, the Ginetta G4, a car you can sell for $10 grand. So, we won it a couple more times. With that, we now had enough money to invest in a second car, and I use the word car very lightly, because it's a truck, the Chevrolet SSR, which we lock in as our vehicle from the 2000s. We quickly use the remaining money to chuck on any upgrade we can get, and head on over to the special events, to the easy difficulty Capri Rally. The whole point of completing this race is to receive this prize car, which we can sell for $250,000. So, any upgrades we couldn't afford earlier are now purchased and slapped onto the vehicle, including a giant ugly wing. But the ugly looks were well worth it, as the SSR cleans up the remaining Sunday Cup races, along with the Clubman's Cup. It doesn't stop there though. The Tuned Car Cup and Naturally Aspirated Cup fall shortly afterwards, before we set our sights on the FR Cup and Spider Roadster Cup, because this truck's a convertible, eventually finishing its massacre with the completion of the Sports Truck Cup. But what about an actual challenging race? How would the truck fare in the Supercar Festival? Pouncing off the line, we make quick work of 5th place as we take it for ourselves. And as we come up to the end of the first lap, we high-five the barrier as we move our way into 4th place. First hairpin, 2nd lap. The Ford GT40 falls victim to this ridiculous sports truck, leaving Justinado and the Jag remaining. But after a head-to-head duel down the start-finish straight, 2nd place becomes ours. And now, there was just one to go. It definitely takes a bit more work to track down that Jag, as it's very clearly the strongest opponent of the pack. Eventually though, as the 4th lap rolls around, we have gotten close enough to make our move, as we pull alongside and then proceed to vanish off into the distance. This truck is unstoppable. I still hate it. It's at this point I realise my save got corrupted. Checking my garage to discover that only the truck remained. That meant that my rare Honda XZ was gone. Luckily, it didn't take me too long to find another one in the used car dealership. Only this one was yellow. Yellow. We quickly snapped it up, and with all our excess money, purchased every upgrade part that it had available, boosting it to a whopping 77 horsepower. But is it going to be enough to win the multiple championships that we require it to? First up is the FF Cup. Come on little Honda, it's time to show these non-believers just what you are capable of. The key to this race is the fact that it's only 2 laps, which means we can hold down our nitrous the entire race without having to worry about running out, putting us on even footing with the other cars out here on the track today. Make way, other cars, you better respect the Honda Act, because it is currently carving its way through the entire pack. It's already reached 3rd place by the time it hits the tunnel, and the moment it comes out, it quickly darts to the inside, taking 2nd place in the process, with 1st firmly in its sights as it speeds down the start-finish straight, waiting for that first hairpin, where with a cheeky dive bomb, it makes its way into 1st place, fully solidifying its lead with the next straight, and then using its remaining NOS to power off away from the opponents and down towards the finish line, where it claims victory in the front-wheel drive cup. Problem is, that was the easiest championship, well besides the historic cup, which was surprisingly a cakewalk. But this World Compact Cup, now this was a bit of a problem. Not only were the cars a step above anything we'd faced so far, the race was also 3 laps. Now the nitrous would last us too, but now that we've got an extra lap on top, yeah, that's a problem. We're going to have to be a bit more strategic if we're going to have any hope of finishing in a decent spot. End of the 1st lap, and we're already making moves on the final 2 podium spots, and one after another they open up gaps for us, allowing us to take one position and then shortly afterwards the other. The only issue being, we're already more than halfway through our nitrous, and in our desire to hold on to as much of it as possible, we don't manage to pull away from our opponents. And it's not long before First decides that he wants his position back, and due to our car being gutless on the hill, well, there wasn't much we could do to stop him. Coming down the long straight, side by side, and as we enter the corner, we decide to take a very fair and sporting approach. Sure, the other car might not think so, but history is written by the victors. And today, that's us, as we cross the line in 1st place, completing the Compact Cup. Okay, I think it's time to do a breakdown on our progress. So far, we've used 2 vehicles, and starting with the SSR, it has managed to complete all of these championships. Moving on to our plucky little Honda, it's managed to pull out a victory at the following 4 events. And that just leaves these 5 events remaining before the completion of the beginner and professional league. Now if we play our cards right, we can split these 5 races down into 2 individual cars. Now the Gran Turismo World Series needs a racing car, so we can put that in the MR together. And that just leaves us needing a turboed 4-wheel drive boxer. And I have a pretty good idea what we can use for that. No, it's not the WRX. I felt like trying something a little bit different. And it's still got beautiful round headlights. So we're going to take this and lock it in as our car from the 90s. Also, since we've got a ton of money, we may as well just go ham on these upgrades, fully maxing out the car's ability, because we're probably going to end up using it quite a bit. Once that's done, it's time to put it to work. It doesn't take me long into the race before I come to the conclusion that I do not like this car, and I'm desperately wishing that I'd stuck with my WRX. Now don't get me wrong, I'm sure this car is great, and that the fault lies with me, but I'm having a lot of difficulty trying to match the lift-off oversteer with the incredible amount of understeer that comes when you hit the gas, and just getting it round the corners feels like a real fight to me, and not an enjoyable one. It's still a testament to how much power the thing has, because it still cleans up any race it enters, even with my terrible driving. Oh well, at least those races are behind me now. All we're gonna need is a race car. So my plan is to go win the Minolta race car from the El Capitan endurance race. Oh, I forgot about that. Right, well we're a long way off that. So plan B, we'll just go and get the Jag. We're a long way off that one too. Right, better go do some side events and see which total we hit first. Turns out we hit 25% first, although only just. So it's time to get our Porsche and head over to the El Capitan endurance race. This car is so overpowered for the event. My greatest challenge is going to be not falling asleep. We do manage to complete that challenge. Just. It was very boring. But the reward is worth it, as we finally have the Toyota Minolta race car, the final vehicle we need to complete both the beginner and professional events. So with that, our 1980s car is finally locked in place. I think we're about ready to head on down and finally challenge the Gran Turismo World Series. As soon as the race starts, we waste no time in making ground, overtaking the first of our opponents, before shortly afterwards taking the second. Of course, we've chucked a giant turbo on this car, and due to the long straights on this track, we're not anticipating any problems in our quest for first place. As you can see, we're almost there already. Eventually, stealing first place away from our rivals, and with that, all we need to do is fly off into the distance. At the end of the third lap, our tyres are looking pretty worn. If we drive conservatively, we should be able to get another lap out of them. However, if you know me, then you're well aware that that is not what happened, as I continue to recklessly throw the car around the corners. Eventually, after a long straight, I pull a very tactical manoeuvre as an efficient way to lose speed, before setting us up to go around the sharp left-hand corner. Okay, fine. I'm having trouble controlling the car. Are you happy? You win, Gran Turismo. I'll take it easy for the rest of the race. And with that, my 30-second lead all but vanishes by the time I hit the finish line, only just managing to hold on to that first place. With the completion of that championship, all beginner and professional races have been completed. And it's all thanks to these four little beauties, who have somehow managed to get us this far. Unfortunately for them though, their journey's not over, as we're now moving on to the extreme events. Having a look through this list of new events, we find that we have 7 more to complete. Now these 5 right here, they're not going to cause us any problems, so let's just get rid of those. Nyum. It's these 2 remaining ones that are going to cause a problem. Now we don't have a Formula 1 car, don't know what we'll do about that. So let's focus on this one first. And as it turns out, none of our cars are viable. So it looks like for one more time, we get to go shopping. And for our final car, it looks like we're gone British, deciding on the AC Cars 427, which we proceed to lock in as our 1960s car. No time to waste getting used to the car, we only need it for one race. The only question I want answered is if this car from the 1960s can keep up with its modern rivals. And based on sheer power alone, it seems to be doing a good job. Sure, the back can be a little bit loose, but we're more than making up for it in the straights. So it doesn't take long until we're fighting for first. Oh, that looked expensive. And with him suffering that damage, there's no competitors left to challenge us, as we take a few more corners before hitting that start-finish straight and walking away with a victory. We're almost at the end, with just the Formula GT Championship to go. Only, we don't have a Formula GT car, so we're going to try our luck in our Toyota. Okay, well this is not how I was expecting the race to go, as the Toyota easily takes first place, and then proceeds to rapidly increase its lead. But by the end of lap 11, our tyres are toast, and we got a pit. Meanwhile, those Formula 1 cars keep driving, relegating us back to last place. Right, so it may be the excessive pit stops that are going to be cause for our downfall. We better push it. Only to find out that the Formula GT cars pitted just a lap later, meaning overall they're going to make the same amount of pit stops. So with that knowledge, it doesn't take long until we're coming round to lap them all. And out of their desperation to stop us, they set up a devious trap, Ah! Hey, and I'll have you know, I don't need anybody else to sabotage me. I am more than capable of doing that on my own. Ow. So after vanishing for a quick lunch break, the AI finally figures out how to fix my mistake and get our car into the pits. But even with that hiccup, we still lap all of our opponents. In fact, we do it twice. Yay, winning! As you can see, it was an anticlimactic finish. Ow. And these are our 5 heroes of the entire journey, with us completing the beginner, professional and extreme cups. Of course, if you liked it, drop a like, subscribe if you want, and maybe watch another video. Otherwise, bye.